I'm interested in what you said about this, you know, how the true message is what is unsaid and so on, and the example you gave where, let's say you say to someone whom you desire, hello, how are you, and you really mean it, tear off your clothes, and there we go.
Yes.
No? What I like, were you ever tempted to do this? Now I'm not a writer, I'm a philosopher writing terrible prose, but okay, you are some kind of a writer. Were you ever tempted to do something which always attracted me, that a partner in this kind of conversation consciously mixes the levels and like directly answers to the unsaid. Something like, hello, how are you? Sorry, I have menstruation today, period. It wouldn't go, you know. You say the same, what changes is the absence, the absent. And would you agree that this is what writers, if they're magicians, can do?
Yes.
Not only what they write, but what they don't write through writing. What you said about globalization, no distance between here and there. Now, it may surprise you, but I have many friends who are politically absolutely not in my line, but whom I respect, like the German guy Peter Sloterdijk. And he came with an idea that I find strangely attractive. Namely, why should we be obsessed in this multicultural world where you may be living in the same building, there is an Italian family, a Japanese family, with this liberal pressure, we should understand each other and so on. No, maybe we need a code of discretion. I don't want to understand everyone.
But what happened is that this idea of living in a kind of plural society, which, you know, it's a kind of unexceptional, I mean, it's even, we don't even have to talk about it. It's an obvious idea. It decayed into this other thing, which is pernicious, which is cultural relativism, where what you say is that, you know, it's all right that they behave like that because that's their culture. Yeah. So, you know, if they want to circumcise women,
go right ahead.
Fine, that's what those people do.
Those people, exactly.
If they think it's okay to murder writers they disagree with, you know, maybe they should do that. We ourselves don't feel like that. But that's their culture.
It's their opinion.
You know, and that becomes. I mean, I'm lampooning it.
Of course.
But the fact is that idea that there should be separate rules for separate groups of people because that's their culture, is disgraceful. Anyway, but it seems to be that moment, the moment at which the leader of the Soviet Union refused to use force against the citizens of the Soviet Union. That moment, it was over. Boom, gone. You know, it blew away like dust. And so there are these tipping points, you know.
And we're living one now.
And we're living in one now, yeah. And I think it's going to be ugly, you know, because I think some of these countries will fight hard.
Libya in particular.
Libya right now, I can't see Syria going quietly. You know, and then there's the big monsters. Saudi Arabia, Iran. Those are the big monsters.
I told to my Israeli friends, listen, you may have some doubts, but are you aware that this democratic awakening is the only small opening chance to really get rid of anti-Semitism?
Yeah. Well, also, you know, it's
I mean, let's face it. I support Palestinians, but let's face it. There is also anti-Semitism in Arab countries and so on, of course.
I think we can face it easily.
Yeah.
But what I mean is that Israel shouldn't be afraid, my God. That this is a small opening that maybe
I agree. And also it's very difficult to explain to I think, to the United States and through the United States to Israel that this is not about you.
It isn't about you, right.
This is just, you know...
It's hard for Jews to...
Just for a moment, just get over it. This is not about you. It's about them. You know?
Speaking about precisely them and us.
But, you know, there's a real desire to push things on. So Egypt, I think, you know, Tunisia, I think, these might be success stories. Libya, it's hard to see how that's a success story.
Our tragedy today is a general and universal physical fear so long sustained by now that we can even bear it. There are no longer problems of the spirit. There is only the question, when will I be blown up?
In a world which is so heavily politicized, that you need as a writer, as an artist, to insist on human values. You need to insist on the things that make us human, such as love, anger, hatred, jealousy, etc. To write about those things, not to reduce human life only to the political. Well, I mean, I think the problem is that in the last passage of time, our public life has been dominated by a kind of politics of fear.
Fear.
That we've been encouraged to be afraid of the future, to be afraid of each other, to be afraid of the next calamity, and that has given permission to many of our leaders to institute apparatus of repression, which we would not allow them to do if we weren't afraid.